Hello, I'm Jack Kelly, and welcome to People in Perspective. Joining me today is my dad, John Kelly, an immigrant from Ireland. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
All right, so what was your early life in Ireland like?
Growing up in Ireland was a very fun thing. We had lots of families in our neighborhood, or we used to call them streets. And a lot of the families back then had quite a big family, like brothers and sisters. There were like 6, 7, 8 people in the family. So we always had lots of fun things to do when we were kids. We played lots of sports. We played soccer. We played Gaelic football, which is a national sport in Ireland. And we also played hurling, which is made of a hurling stick, which is made of wood, and a little leather ball that was called a slither. And we would swim, and when we were hanging out with the girls, we'd play hopscotch or jump rope or hide and seek, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of kids to hang out with.
So in Ireland, did you have any important or notable family members? Like anyone famous or?
Well, my father, or your grandfather, Ty Kelly, was a very famous hurler in Galway. He played at cornerback, and apparently he was quite ferocious and very intimidating with his tactics. And needless to say, he was loved throughout the county and in the little town of Gort that he was born and raised in. And he wore the number 7 jersey. The Galway colours back then were maroon and white. So yeah, that was a very famous individual in our family, or my dad, your grandfather.
Mm-hmm. How about your early career and later education in Ireland?
Well, growing up in Ireland, I had an opportunity to go to culinary college, and I was just graduated, I was 18, and I got accepted, and it was a 3-year course. And we stayed in accommodation. There was like houses that were around the college itself, and it was a big mix. There was lots of boys and lots of girls, and it was in a town called Killybegs in County Donegal. And one thing of note about Killybegs, even though it's beside the ocean and it's a very pretty fishing village, the smell from the fish factories, poo-wee. And you'd have thousands and thousands of seagulls as our friends. But I did 3 years there, and I graduated, and the college then would open some vacancies for you in different hotels and restaurants. And that was the beginning.
Mm-hmm. What was it like moving from Ireland to America? Was it what you imagined?
No, it was completely different in the United States. Apart from just the currency, like we used euros and punts and pounds in Ireland, and everything was in pounds and ounces, and then we switched to the metric, which was kilograms and kilometers, and we drove on the right-hand side of the road. And over in America, it's different in that respect. You have all these skyscrapers, which you guys were probably more familiar with growing up, but coming to the United States for the first time, it was like you spend a lot of your time looking up, thinking, wow, how high are these? And then the currency, because the dollar, you're used to using the dollar, and the food, obviously, is very different over here. And yeah, it really is an enormous country. It's hard to fathom how big it is, actually, when you first come over here. But after you've traveled around a little bit, it makes a little bit more sense.
Oh, it must have been a big change. What parts of America did you like when you first came over?
When I first came to Chicago, well, I had family over here that time. And I think the fun thing about when you first come over is the sightseeing. Just going to different places for the first time that you're not familiar with, but the locals are. Like, for example, going to a Blackhawks game at the United Center. You know, the crowd was there. It was small and compact, but like going to an ice hockey game, I never actually went to a Bears game. Never had the opportunity. Or even a Bulls game. Didn't have an opportunity to see that. But there were sports in Chicago, and I kind of lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
What did you like about coming to America?
Oh,
Chicago
yeah. Well, actually, I
specifically?
came to America because I got a green card, which is a pretty big thing, and it was like a lottery. So it was just like my version of winning the lottery. I had a green card, and the flight over, it seemed like it took forever. It was like about 8 hours to fly over, and then when you were flying into Chicago, it was like sometime during the daytime. Well, it was like evening, like all the lights were on in the city, and it's quite spectacular from several thousand feet up, flying in over the city. It was pretty amazing in that respect, right?
All right, I guess we'll take a little shift from what we were at before. What did you dislike about America when you first came over?
Nothing. I don't think there's anything to dislike about America. Because there's so many opportunities in this country, where people that actually were born and raised here probably might not understand the concept of the immigration thing, where you do have opportunities when you come to America. Like in Ireland, growing up, after I finished culinary college, when there was not a lot of opportunities, or there were only part-time opportunities. So you were always in the bracket of you were an immigrant, because I traveled to England and I traveled around Europe just to get the culinary arts experience. And then when I came to the United States, I was working as a chef at the Hilton and Towers on Michigan Avenue, which is a really nice hotel. And then I changed my career, and I got into being a stationary engineer.
All right, well, that's fascinating. What about, what did you miss from Ireland after you had come here? What did you miss?
Well, first and foremost, I miss my family. My brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, my mom, which would be your grandma, the food. I miss the food, and I miss the people, and I don't miss the weather. Growing up in Ireland as a kid, our summers were nice and hot, and our winters were reasonably cold. But then as I was a teenager, the weather seemed to change. Like, it would rain quite a lot in the summer, and the winters were horrible, like cold, but nothing like over here in Chicago cold, which is extremely cold.
All right, well, thanks for coming to the show. I'm Jack Kelly. This is People in Perspective.